let's talk about the first basic moves that we'll be doing with our students. There are 4 basic things that we do on top of this board, balance-wise, that are going to be essential for our being able to move around and be successful. If they can't do it on the flats, then obviously they won't be able to do it elsewhere. So let's talk about those right now. We, of course, know this as flexion and extension. For kids, getting high and getting low is just as appropriate. The first thing that we can do is do things with our upper body, making sure that our core and shoulders are remaining over top of the board as we get higher and lower. The other thing is then we can also deal with the board coming up to the body. When we talk about that, we want to talk about landing the board flat and using the knees to absorb the energy. So it'll be something like this. Again, keeping in mind that the upper body is aligned with the board. The second thing that we talk about is getting fore and aft on our board. Again, for our regulars or our goofies. Notice we're talking right now about the upper body moving over the board, staying vertical. The body still staying aligned with the board. We also can do the board moving under the body, where the body is staying straight and in the same place, and the board is sliding under. Obviously, at this point, especially with younger ones, we can talk about making an ollie. So, that's the second thing. The third thing is rotary motion. Pointing out that as we start swinging our body, all sorts of things can happen. If we take and reach in either direction, we find that the board wants to align with our upper body. This can be advantageous at times, but it also can be a problem at times. For our newer riders, if we suggest 12 o'clock being going straight ahead, and for our regular riders, 1 o'clock being toe side, and 11 o'clock being heel side, that would be the only amount of rotary that we would need initially. And will also hopefully lessen the fact that they might catch an edge. Obviously, if we're dealing with goofy, it's going to be just the opposite. Noon or 12 o'clock would be straight ahead, but toe side now would be at 11. And heel side would be at 1. The fourth thing that we want to talk about is edging. And so often when we start talking about the toe side edging, our students want to get their heads forward or be looking at their toes. If this happens, that's going to cause a major problem with balance. So if we talk about getting lower, letting the belly come out with the shoulders being over the board and the knees flexing, we can balance on those toes much easier. Letting the butt come back and the heels pressing against the ground and letting the toes come up with the head forward is what we're focusing on for the heel side. Making sure that all 4 of these areas, they have balance right here on the flats, will allow us to have a much better beginning experience. Go ahead and cut it.